I'm
I
sorry.
I did it
had
as
to.
quick. I had to do it as quick as I could.
Yeah. Oh man, oh man. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back into the Celtics Talk Weekly post-game show. I am your host, Rob Haytayan. Joined with me are our two co-hosts, Nick Franco and Seamus Zarlingo. Guys, the Celtics tonight, they were shorthanded, and the team they played, well, they were also shorthanded. And they came up short on the road in Orlando on the eve of Christmas Eve, 108 to 104. Obviously, guys, the Celtics and the Magic kind of played in a dog fest of a game. Very slow pace, very low scoring, very defensive heavy. A lot of turnovers, a lot to talk about, guys. Obviously, no Jason Tatum tonight for the Celtics. He was questionable into the second quarter before getting ruled out after halftime due to an illness. We don't know what the illness was. It was deemed not COVID related. That's all we got. Guys, you know the drill here. Our initial thoughts, reactions, takeaways on tonight's loss.
Go ahead, Franco. You're going to want to take this
Bah
one over. You were hot
humbug.
after the game.
That was I've watched so many Celtics games. Yeah. No, bah humbug. I'm the Scrooge tonight. The Celtics should have
Doesn't even know
came
what to
away
say.
with a win tonight. You're facing a team that's extremely short-handed with the Orlando Magic, down Boncaro and Wagner, and actually both Wagners. They were struggling to actually off the jump. They had a very good start. They were lighting up the scoreboard. I thought it was just up to someone else to step in to help out Jaylen Brown tonight. He showed that he can be a perennial superstar on a team, and filled in for Jason Tatum, who was called out 10 minutes before the game, and I would like to hear the interview of that once that comes out. But I think tonight they just were facing a team who wanted it more. Orlando Magic, they're a tough team, and it was a real testament to their depth that they have on their roster tonight. They had a lot of good performances all around, and you had a team that was legitimately grabbing you by the throat, and the Celtics waited too long to respond to it in the third quarter and fourth quarter.
My goodness. Tonight's game, Franco, bah humbug is the correct term to use for this, because when you have a 15-point lead at halftime on an Orlando Magic team that looks like, they're struggling to create points a little bit out here. Yes, they're playing hard. Both teams are really playing physical, and you can see why the Orlando Magic, they're not necessarily struggling too hard without Franz Wagner and Paulo Banchero, and now without Mo Wagner for the season. We mentioned him last post game. Unfortunate injury on Saturday for Mo Wagner that put him out for the season. But without those three players, it was very clear the Orlando Magic couldn't create points at the same level the Celtics could at the beginning of this game. And it looked like, yes, the Orlando Magic, they're going to play physical, they're going to play tough, they're not going to go away. But the Celtics, they have more than enough talent without Jason Tatum in this game to go out and finish a nice solid road win before coming back home for Christmas Day against the Philadelphia 76ers. And you see on the bottom of the screen right now, that was not the case. In the second half, the Orlando Magic outscored the Boston Celtics by 19 points after being down 15 at halftime. And the Boston Celtics, they're the team that looks like, oh my goodness, we're missing Jason Tatum. We're shorthanded. Whatever will we do? And yes, Tatum is a huge focal point of this team. 43 points on Saturday, triple-double, monstrous performance from Tatum. But we see the performance Jaylen Brown had on the top of the screen tonight. 35 points for JB and a super efficient shooting night for Jaylen Brown. He really had it going early. But the Celtics in the second half looked like the flustered team. Orlando completely flustered the Celtics in the second half, attacked them from all different angles, whether it was defensively, offensively. Orlando kept penetrating the paint, kept finding wide open threes. And the Orlando Magic were the team who had more energy, more fight in the second half in this game. And I don't want to ring the alarm bells because it's only December 23rd for the Celtics. And we all know the Celtics, the real portion of the season is going to come later down in February, March, April into May. Of course, if the Celtics make it that far, which we of course expect them to do, that's the real portion of the season. But right now, it feels as if the Celtics against some of these younger, fast-paced, physical teams, such as Chicago, such as Orlando, they're not really bringing it the way they should. The Celtics are not bringing it the way they should, and that's ultimately what creates these results, because we all know the Boston Celtics, they're beyond better than this Orlando Magic team right now for who they are and what the Magic are without Boncaro and without Franz Wagner. They're beyond the Chicago Bulls right now, who are down in the play-in portion of the standings. Yet the Celtics, they dropped 2 out of the last 3 games in the fashion where they could have had 3 straight wins here. They could have been putting up consistent wins going into Christmas, and that's just not what's happening right now with the Celtics team.
Where do I start? So I think it was so weird because they came out and they played such an amazing first half, and this tonight showed me, especially on the offensive side of the ball, just how important Jason Tatum is to this team, and just how important he is within the offense. He is the engine that makes this unit run. I noticed that very clearly in that third quarter and late down the stretch in the fourth. I thought defensively we played a very, very sound game tonight, as did kind of both teams. Like I said, it was a dog fest. But, guys, I do want to take a look as we jump into it here, the lead tracker for tonight, because, again, it was all green in that first half, guys. It was the Celtics here led by as many as 15 points, was their largest lead up until just at the end of that third quarter there, where the Magic took the lead by 4 points going into that fourth quarter. And then it was just all blue from there. The Celtics were kind of unable to string together the necessary stops they needed, eventually falling short, guys. Now, this is the exact opposite of the lead tracker you want to see. I mean, all green through 3, 2.5, and then just a complete fall off of a blue.
Yeah, it was something that had to be in the second half. The team seemed a little bit less energetic coming out, and it seemed like they had full control of the game. It seemed like the median for this game was, the score was Celtics 10, and that's what the lead they were going to withhold. And it didn't seem like they were trying to grow that lead any further. And like I said, I think if Jaylen Brown had a monstrous performance tonight, but the players around him, all it took was one other person to step up, and we didn't see the likes of the bench as much as we would like to, stepping up and being able to fill in for those rotational minutes. I think what really killed the Celtics was when the starters would come off the court, and we weren't able to come up with points from Hauser and Pritchard. And I just think that if we are going to be matched up against teams like this, and we're going to see much more of these younger teams as time goes forward, we're going to see a lot more of the Orlando Magic. We're going to see a lot more of the Indiana Pacers as playoffs come around, because we're not going to really see the teams that we're used to or accustomed to, which are the Philadelphia 76ers, the Milwaukee Bucks, even though they've been playing a little bit more consistent recently. But these younger teams are reaching that point where the Celtics were about 3 or 4 years ago, when their young players are starting to reach those prime years, and they're starting to understand how to match up against the Celtics and not really have that fear of playing the Celtics.